God have mercy upon us.
Waliwo abazungu banajuzi bali mu fensi eyali agivuga n'atunuulira Nabbada n'ajjako omukono n'amukubira jambo okuzza amaaso emmotoka nga yeefudde taata. Nabbada oyirira baaba Nabbada otalina obulungi bwa Nabbada basinga babwewuunya bayingira ekkanisa amaaso ne basimba oyo n'omwawula ebyasomesa bibayita ku nviiri taata. Nabbada oli wala Nabbada onyirira nga batunuulira eryana bwe lisukumya eggomesi tunuulira eryana bwe lisudde mu leeza maama. Nabbada oli wala baaba Nabbada onyirira.
On the beautiful island of Mawanda, a tourist destination known for its flora and fauna, there lived a woman called Nabbada. She was known as the most beautiful woman on the island, and every man wanted to make her his wife. Her silky dark afro hair, and with eyes that sparkled like the waters of the Lake Victoria, and with a smile that could light up any room. Nabbada's entire existence made every man determined to marry her. But their determination was nowhere near that of Kalyesubula. Kalyesubula was a fisherman on the island. Although he was poor, he was known to be hardworking and had a heart of gold. He had been in love with Nabbada since they were children, but this seemed an impossible dream, as Nabbada's parents wanted her to marry a rich man from the city and not just a poor fisherman on the island. Despite the odds, Kalyesubula continued pursuing Nabbada, even though he knew that his love alone would never be enough for her parents. One day, 4 white men arrived on the island. They were tourists, and the islanders were buzzing with excitement upon their arrival. They came driving a Benz, which was a rare sighting on the island. This made the islanders excited, and Nabbada too was intrigued by these foreigners. Little did she know that this intrigue would turn into a flame that would bring tragic consequences on the people and the entire island. One afternoon, as one of the tourists was on a drive on the island, he stumbled upon Nabbada walking along the road. Her beauty was so captivating that he couldn't take his eyes off of her. As he stared at her open-mouthed, the car suddenly veered off the road, knocked into a tree, and overturned. Luckily, he was not severely harmed and was taken out of the car by Nabbada and the other villagers around. He expressed his gratitude to the people, and especially to Nabbada. He wished to know her name and know her more. She told him, and she also asked for his name. His name was Holmer. Holmer introduced himself as an animal conservationist. He ran an NGO that aims to protect and conserve elephants in Africa. And it was the same conservation efforts that led him to Mawanda. As soon as he was able to, Holmer started lavishing Nabbada in expensive gifts, from luxury fashion brands, to a car, to a house in the rich neighborhoods of Mawanda. Nabbada was flattered by Holmer's attention and showered him with all her gratitude, and soon started a romantic relationship with Holmer. Bambi, on the other hand, Kalyesubula had nothing to offer Nabbada except for his unwavering love and commitment. He looked on as Holmer slowly won over Nabbada's heart. He felt bitter and jealous, but there was not much he could do. But still, he felt Holmer's intentions towards Nabbada were not all that pure. He knew the lavish gifts were just a game to win over Nabbada's heart, and he was sure Nabbada was not the only woman on the island that was receiving such gifts. So he decided to follow and investigate Holmer to find out who the other woman is and show the proof to Nabbada. But as Kalyesubula followed Holmer's each and every move, he soon found out that his initial suspicion was far from the truth. He noticed that Holmer and his friends would disappear in the forest for long periods of time and come back carrying bags containing God knows what. They would then load the bags onto a boat which would sail off Mawanda. So one day he decided to follow them in the forest and see what exactly they were doing. Little did he know that he would find the shock of his life. He found them in the act of poaching elephants for their ivory. Shocked and horrified, Kalyesubula knew he had to do something about this. He knew he needed evidence for anyone, let alone the authorities, to believe what he had just seen. But first, he needed to alert the authorities. He went to the wildlife warden and reported this case, but the warden dismissed it and instead asked him to gather more evidence to implicate these men. Kalyesubula continued to secretly trail the men and gather evidence. It was a dangerous job, but he knew it was something he had to do to help the poor elephants that were being killed for no reason other than greed. He was scared for his life. He knew this was something dangerous, as the men carried weapons of all sorts. Perhaps it was by luck that he managed to gather all this evidence that he had. But alas, this didn't last long. His luck soon ran out. During one of his stakeouts, Kalyesubula hid behind a rock, eyes focused on his target. But little did he know, there were some men patrolling the area. "Hey you!" they shouted at him. Kalyesubula was so scared that he attempted to make a run for it. But it was too late. The men were so close to him that they immediately caught him, beat him up, took him to the camp and dumped him in a pit. In the pit, Kalyesubula saw his world turn to dust. He had lost everything. He had no hope of ever coming out of this alive. The men reported the incident to Holmer and asked what they should do with the man. But Holmer insisted that they should not harm the man, as this would attract attention from the villagers, which they did not want. They were making their last shipment, so it needed to be a clean job without bloodshed. The islanders, especially Nabbada, noticed Kalyesubula's absence. But since he was known to wander off days at a time, they didn't suspect much. They didn't know the ordeal that he was facing right now. And plus, Nabbada was too caught up in a newfound romance with Holmer that she didn't have much time to concentrate on Kalyesubula's absence. A week went by, and still no news of Kalyesubula. But Nabbada's life was blissful as ever. She had no complaints whatsoever, until one romantic evening that changed her perception of Holmer. He was distracted all night long and didn't pay much attention to Nabbada. She questioned him, saying it was another woman, but he denied it and ignored her. He then received a phone call and left abruptly. Nabbada didn't sit well with this. She decided to follow him and see who the other woman is. She couldn't shake this feeling off. She knew something was not right somewhere. So she followed him and saw him meet up with his other counterparts. That is when she learned the shocking truth. Nabbada froze. She couldn't believe what she had just seen and heard. She was shook to the core. Trembling, she knew she needed to get out of this place as soon as possible, but her feet couldn't move. It was like she was glued in one place. But a voice inside of her insisted that she run. Finally, she gathered some courage to run and ran as fast as she could. But unfortunately didn't run that far when she tripped over a stone, falling to the ground. It was painful, but she knew she shouldn't make a lot of noise, as it would alert the men that someone else was in the area. Painfully, she got up and started limping out of the forest, but soon heard a faint sound ahead of her. As she got closer, the sound became clearer. It was someone yelling for help. They seemed to be stuck underground, so Nabbada started digging with her own fingers. And there lay before her eyes Kalyesubula, the one who the entire island thought had wandered off, had actually been stuck in a pit. "Nabbada, we don't have time," Kalyesubula told her hastily. "We need to get out of here and warn others of what is happening here." And so Nabbada helped him out of the pit, and together they ran out of that forest. They ran to the village and narrated to everyone what had happened to Kalyesubula and what Nabbada had witnessed in the forest, what the white men on the island were doing to the poor elephants on the island. The atrocities in the forest infuriated all the villagers. The able-bodied young men and women quickly gathered up all the weapons they could get and rushed to the forest to put an end to this monstrosity. In the forest, a fierce struggle ensued. The poachers attempted to run away, but the crowd was too big and they couldn't escape. They caught them and brought them to the village, where the authorities came and arrested these poachers. In a climactic showdown, the villagers had won. They had fought for not only the innocent animals, but also the soul of their entire community. Holmer and his friends were arrested, alright, but were not detained in Mawanda. Their embassy demanded that they be tried in their home country, and if they were found guilty, they would have to pay a fine of $5 million to Mawanda. The people of Mawanda learnt many lessons from this ordeal. Number 1, not to trust everyone that they see. Number 2, the animals of Mawanda needed to be protected. And with this, they now work hand in hand with the Wildlife Authority to protect and conserve the animals on the island. Nabbada too learned a great lesson. She now knows that she has to work for whatever she wants in life. She now got a job with the Mawanda Wildlife Authority and is working hand in hand with them to protect the animals on the island. Kalyesubula has still not given up on winning over Nabbada and her family. He is now working extra hard to make sure that he gets enough money to marry her. The fishing business has been good to him ever since he was kidnapped. He has since added 2 new boats to his fleet and has hired some boys in the village to help him with the fishing business. Looks like his dreams might come true after all. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Murabeho.